Hey everyone, Nick here again, back to talk about The Walking Dead. This is my late review of episode 11 of season 8. I did film a review already, but there was a problem that kept me from being able to upload it, so yeah, I'm just gonna redo it, and I'm just gonna try and get through it pretty quickly because honestly, I thought that this episode was even more forgettable than the episode before it, which I am not happy to say. I will start with a couple of positives. The performances, particularly from Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I mean, he's always good as Negan. I've said that a million times, but I thought that he was especially good in this episode. Like, he wasn't even in it too much, but his scenes were easily the most memorable of the episode, particularly the end, which I will get to later. Norman Reedus had his best performance in a long time on this show. Daryl was leading the survivors of Alexandria through the woods to the hilltop, and, you know, seeing the stresses of trying to get so many people to safety. He played it well, I thought. I thought he did a good job. But the standout of the episode for me easily was Seth Gilliam. This was his best performance since he has been on the show. I mean, seeing him portraying Father Gabriel becoming even more faithful and then completely losing that faith by the end, that was really heartbreaking to see, and I loved it. He did it so well. And that was actually a lot of really good character development for Gabriel as well, because he has been kind of one note for a while. I don't want to say one note, that sounds kind of harsh, but he hasn't really had much development in a while. So I did appreciate that he got some more in this episode, especially since this season they added him to the opening credits, and yet he's barely been in the season at all. I think this was the 4th episode he appeared in. 5th at best. There's also some pretty good development for Daryl as well. Some of the most positive development he's had in a while, because he's starting to feel more like himself again. You know, the heroic type, the one who's just focused on keeping people safe. Nothing's clouding his judgment. Like, yeah, he did lose his cool at one point in the episode, but, you know, it was, I'd say it was necessary, but again, I'll get to that. Dwight also got some good development. It's becoming clearer and clearer that he is legit. Like, he's not playing any angle here. He is actually on their side. And that's pretty clear to see, for the most part. So yeah, Daryl got some good development. Gabriel got some good development. Dwight got some good development. Tara. She took an absolute nosedive in this episode. She became absolutely insufferable, and I hate to say that because I really liked Tara. When she first showed up, loved her. Like season 5, when she was the quirky, sarcastic one, like, yeah, I love you. You're awesome. I like this character. That character is dead. Tara isn't dead, but the person she was is long gone. And yes, I know why. I understand her pain, but she is handling it in the absolute worst way possible. And she was an absolute hypocrite when she said to Dwight, you don't just get to change sides and make it okay. That's exactly what she did. She was with the governor when he attacked the prison. Yes, she didn't fire a shot. She didn't kill or even hurt anybody when she was with the governor. But that isn't what she said. She said, you don't just get to switch sides. Period. That was it. Like, if she had added on, not after what you've done, as in actually mentioning Denise, which I know she was hinting to, but just the way it was worded made her look like a total hypocrite. Sorry. And she honestly might be at least among the worst characters on the show now. That hurt me to say. She's better than Gregory. That's the best I can say about her. Now I want to talk about Dr. Carson's death. Well, let's recap. Character arc started growing, mostly for Gabriel, but to an extent for Dr. Carson as well. And it seemed to be setting stuff up for the future. Like their road trip was going to have meaning. That they were both going to come out of it different people. And come out more positive and better people. We got a miracle that happened when Gabriel nailed a headshot from probably 20 feet away, despite going blind. And all of it was undone by a completely random, pointless death. The last season and a half was compressed into 68 minutes with this episode. Because that's exactly what happened with Carl. He got his arc with Negan at the Sanctuary. Seemed like they were setting him up to really turn into the most passionate fighter against Negan. We got a miracle in the Season 7 finale when Shiva showed up and tackled the Savior and distracted Negan, and Carl was able to survive right before Negan could kill him. And then all that is undone by him just getting bitten. So yeah, that was some pretty painful symbolism for me. Also, the group reaction at Hilltop to Carl's death was so underwhelming. They barely reacted at all. It was like when you show up at your family Christmas party and they ask why your sibling isn't there, and you're like, oh, well, he's sick. And they're just like, oh. That was their reaction to Carl being dead. Like, he's just sick and elsewhere and sadly couldn't join us today. The only one who believably reacted was Enid. She was the only one to really show any sort of emotion about it. Everyone else was just kinda shocked. And also, Enid had maybe known him for like 6 months, max, in the show's timeline. But Carol and Maggie, they knew him for almost 2 years. And they didn't care. It didn't look like they cared. They didn't care enough. I will end on a positive by talking about the ending, where Negan revealed his scheme for biological warfare. Now that recaptured some of the comic spirit, because, you know, it was actually adapting something from the comics for the first time in a while. So I did appreciate that. Although it did kinda contradict Negan's whole philosophy of people are a resource. And yet he's just gonna try and turn them all into zombies. Okay? But yeah, as contradictory as I find that, I don't even care, because I'm just happy that it feels like the comics at least a little bit again. Overall, I gave this episode a 6 out of 10. It wasn't bad. It was just extremely underwhelming, just as a whole. And I remember thinking to myself, I really hope that the next episode is a step up. And I will do a review of the next episode at some point soon. But that'll do it for this video, and I'll see you next time.